Our next guest is an award-winning Hollywood superstar who lights up any screen she goes anywhere near. And now, any bookshelf. Her autobiography, Rebel Rising, is out now, so make ours a treble as we welcome the human gold medal, who is Rebel Wilson!
Yes!
Wow! I'm called a human gold medal.
Yes, you
Come
are!
on! A gold Rebel medal! Let's hear it from the control room for Rebel Wilson!
This is great for my self-esteem.
Yeah. By the way,
Love
Jane,
you guys. Love you guys.
happy birthday, Jane. You're welcome.
Yes, happy birthday, Jane.
Yeah, we got Rebel
also,
Wilson for you.
Shout out to Chris's son, Eli.
Yeah.
What a legend.
Come on.
Total champion.
I can't believe that you just said he exploded last night. He takes no interest in the show whatsoever. I don't blame him. He's 11. What does he care?
Yeah.
Theatre school, though, every Saturday morning, goes to theatre
he's
school.
into it.
He's
He's
in all the
into
productions.
it.
He
Yeah.
and his mates love you and your gang. They just adore what you do. So congratulations, well done for having all those fans all over the world.
Aww.
Right, there's been a lot of talk about this book.
Oh, just a little bit, Chris. Yeah.
Okay. So there's been a lot of talk about 3 pages in the book. My point is, there are another 320 pages of an epic autobiography.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Like, there's so much in this book, and like so much people are relating to. Like, obviously, like I'm someone who knows what it's like to be a really big person and to be really overweight, and then to lose weight and to get healthier. So there's a lot about that and my relationship with food, sexuality, love life, like crazy stuff from childhood and funny stories and other celebrity
And the deals.
stories.
I love the deals.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the
Oh.
lawyer in me, like, kind of, telling people what's up with the Hollywood
there's
deals.
the 10-year lawyer degree that was going on as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are those 3 pages, but is it okay if we talk about the other 320?
Yeah, I
Because
think
they've been
that's
talked
fine.
about loads. You can talk about them if you want to. It's entirely up to you. But, there's the tech billionaire and that party. There's the tennis player, which was an amazing chapter. There's the heartbreaking letter you wrote to your dad after he passed. There's all the jobs pre-Hollywood. There's the surprise 13th birthday party thrown by the schoolmates you thought didn't like you, but they did. There's your superhero mum. There's the good guys as well as the bad guys like Ben Stiller and Matt Lukes and Robin Williams.
Oh, they're good guys.
I
for
know.
sure.
And there's the
Legends.
deals, there's the money and what you've been able to do for your family as a consequence. There's Rebel, Melanie Rebel. There's that sort of chapter. There's a huge court case that you fought and won. Congratulations, well done. There's wanting to become a mum and it not happening, then the miracle of it happening. And then there's, like in all success stories, the things that almost didn't happen, really nearly didn't happen, but then did, thank God, which is why you're here talking to us now. I mean, what a life, man.
I don't even know where to start on that list.
This is my kind of book. It's like a playbook of how to just get it done.
Yeah, and just like really with this, I was just so honest, raw, and vulnerable,
Yep.
and I just put it all out there.
So vulnerable.
Yeah, so I was like, do we want to start with the tech billionaires party?
We don't have to. Let's. Can we start? I'm going to jump around all over the place. I love the
Okay.
book. I've read every single word of the book apart from the ones that I couldn't because they were redacted. But let's just start with you getting an American agent. So your flatmate at the time couldn't believe it. I know that agency. I used to live in LA. I was represented by a different agency, but Ari Emanuel represented me for a while, and then he became part of your agency. And so how did you get your agent? And then after getting your agent, you got this crazy audition, this extemporary audition where you've got to go and just basically blag your way through an hour of messing about for Bridesmaids. You then get the Bridesmaids gig for $3,500. But then the movie business being what it was a year till it came out, and you weren't allowed to do other jobs because your visa said you couldn't. So you had to carry on acting, and you nearly had to go to Australia, but you didn't. Speak to any of that. It's up to you.
Okay, so when I first came to America, I came with one suitcase.
Yep.
And what we call in Australia a doona, which is like a duvet. And I come, and then I fill the suitcase, a quarter of it, with chocolates.
Yep.
That just shows you how deep my kind of obsession with sweets
Addiction.
is. Yeah, addiction.
Yeah.
And so I come over. I'm sleeping on a friend's couch for $100 a week, and on my second day, I get signed by the biggest agency now called William Morris Endeavour. And I guess I walk in the door, and they hadn't seen anyone like me. Like there weren't many plus size actresses, and I also because I wrote and produced as well. So there wasn't anybody like me. And my friend had told me, he's like, if you go to America, you got to sell yourself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of culturally against what we are kind of as Brits and Australians. You don't really go out there and say, oh my God, I'm like the best thing ever. But that's kind of more American culture. So I walked in, I'm like, I'm like the female Jonah Hill, and I'm here to crush it.
That was your pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my pitch.
That was your actual pitch.
Because you can't just go to America and say, I'm great at everything. You got to kind of pigeonhole yourself. And so I did. And Jonah Hill would be on these Judd Apatow movies. And then lo and behold, my first job I get is in a Judd Apatow movie directed by Paul Feig called Bridesmaids. And I went in and had to audition. I auditioned for the Melissa McCarthy role.
Yep.
And I was kind of like the alternative choice because they weren't sure if they were going to cast Melissa because she's not the huge, massive star that she is today. And so I went in and Kristen Wiig's there and they're like, okay, just improvise that you're at a wedding, you're bridesmaids together, just go. So we're like, and I just start improvising and all my work in Australia kind of came together and I just improvised all this hilarious stuff and somehow we're then snorting cocaine through our belly buttons, like miming it. Obviously there was no cocaine.
In bathrooms.
Yeah, and just
you mime bathrooms to snort the imaginary cocaine in. So congratulations.
It was just like miming and it was just this full on thing and they kept it going for an hour. And I was like, I think this audition's going well. And then I get a call the next day saying, you've got it. And I went, what? I thought, no, I'm just new to America and that role was insane. And they go, well, not the role you auditioned for, but that is going to go to Melissa McCarthy. But we actually think you look a bit like Matt Lucas. And so we're just going to add you in and you can play his sister in the film. And then that's how I got in the movie.
Yeah, so that was it. So they created a part for you.
Yeah.
Which is great. That means you must
in.
have absolutely nailed it. Well, you sound like you nailed the audition. Clearly, you did nail the audition. Right. So then you become friends with Matt, and then you get to eventually you get to live with Matt for a bit.
Yes. Yeah. We became real life roommates after playing roommates in the movie.
And you could wander out and they really are brother and sister. Who knows? But the movie business, being the darned movie business, there's this lag, isn't there? So this 12-month lag of you making.
It's always about a year. So like for example, now I know I've got 3 movies coming up because I've already shot them that you guys will see in like 12 months time. So there's always a year. So that year when I'd filmed Bridesmaids but nobody in the world had seen it yet. But I thought, I think this is going to be amazing. But I had to wait a whole year and then I only had about $60 a week to live on for that whole year. And it was pretty lonely.
Yeah, of course.
Time. It's not like the partying, what you'd think, like when you move to Hollywood. It's more just like, going on a hike, which is walking uphill, which I never thought I would enjoy. And I went to the movie cinemas once a week with my money and the rest spent on like corn chips because, again, my diet wasn't great back then. And then that was a year patiently waiting to think if this movie's great, I might have a career in America. If it's not, I'll go back and maybe become a lawyer.
What a strange 12 months. I mean, I've read loads of these books because it's what I do for a living. I've lived the life a bit, as well. But I've never really heard a story like that before where you've got this movie in the can, but you're not on the conveyor belt. So you don't have other movies to fill in. You don't have an income stream. Your cash flow's drying up. You've got a really good money head on you because of the jobs you've done in Australia for your mum and your dad in their small businesses and things like that. So you're aware of everything, but it's almost like putting it all on black or, putting it on the nose at one of the horses at the track with your dad.
Yeah, well, gambling was in my family,
I know.
and this was a gamble to sell everything I own and move to Hollywood
it's
and
giving me
live off
goosebumps.
my life savings. It was a huge gamble, and it could have backfired. I mean, the odds. I think I'd have, if I was a guy, I'd have more odds of like making it in the NBA or the NFL than making it as a professional actor.
So that was a gamble, right? So then you bag this role in Bridesmaids, and it's like putting a bet on a horse, but the race takes a year.
Yes.
And
it's painfully slow.
Oh, gosh. And you only have 4 scenes.
Yes.
So you're like, I'm betting on 4 scenes, 12 months, and $3,500.
Yeah, and I thought Jonah Hill had 1 scene in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and then he got a career. And then I was like, okay, I have 4 scenes.
Right.
Is those wacky improvisations enough to get noticed in Hollywood?
So count down to the premiere and then the film's release. Go.
Mm-hmm. So the premiere comes up and then you kind of have to pay thousands of dollars to go to the premiere to get an outfit and everything. So I really lost money doing Bridesmaids.
You were down.
Yeah. And then I get in there And then like, wow, the laughter at the premiere, I was just like, okay, this movie's going to be great. And then all of a sudden I booked 6 movies in the 2 weeks from the release of Bridesmaids, one of which is the movie Pitch Perfect, which is, just my personal favorite, really, of all the movies that I've done. And I get this message over Facebook, and it's this writer, Kay Cannon, and she goes, okay, I've written this movie called Pitch Perfect, and I don't want you to be offended, but there's this character called Fat Amy, and I feel like you'd be great for it. And she sends me the script and asks if I would audition. I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I go in and audition and sing Lady Gaga, Edge of Glory with my own body percussion, which was like, I don't know whether you can hear that
Yeah,
beat.
you can.
So like I did my own thing, and then they cast me, and I was the first person cast in Pitch Perfect, and it was because Kay had seen these offcuts of Bridesmaids.
Control room round of applause just for that story. Thank you. Yeah. By the way, continued happy birthday, Jane. We
Happy
continue
birthday,
to bring
Jane.
you Rebel Wilson
Yeah.
on your birthday. Oh my goodness me. And then, you get this gig. By the way, there's loads of missing out here. It's all in this book. You've got to get this book. It's great. It's such
It
a
has
great read.
everything.
Rebel Rising, a memoir, Rebel Wilson, full of revelations, I've been saying this morning.
Oh, full of revelation.
I
Can
know.
I use
Revelations.
that?
Yeah, Revelation could be
that's
book
genius.
2. Come on, Revelations. And so I'm having to fast forward because I'm too excited for my own good, right? I couldn't sleep last night because I knew you coming in, read the book. I'm very excited. And so you get the gig. You've got the Pitch Perfect gig. You're not filming it yet, but you've got the gig. You get 6 movie offers within about 6 minutes of Bridesmaids becoming this obvious hit. You then go, because you're not quite sure. Rebel's not quite sure whether what she's seeing is to be believed. So she sneaks in loads of cinemas, just watching the film again and again, and making sure people are still laughing at the film. That's all true, isn't it?
Sitting up the back and seeing if they're laughing at it, and they were. They were in a baseball
They're still
cap.
laughing.
Yeah, I know that movie's still going strong, isn't it?
And
It stands the test of time.
So then you get all these other gigs, and including Pitch Perfect. However, there is now a Jenny Craig / Fat Amy conflict.
Yeah, so remember, like, I didn't have much money. I was hemorrhaging money living in the US, and I had been offered back in Australia this Jenny Craig contract to lose weight, which at the time was probably the biggest weight loss contract.
Right, so we don't know what Jenny
could
Craig
get.
is, so...
I guess it's like Weight Watchers.
Yep.
Do you have that here?
There you go.
Yeah.
Done.
And so you lose weight. I think Mel B had a contract with them at one point, a couple of big stars. And so this was right before I got cast as Fat Amy. And then all of a sudden I get the role of Fat Amy, and it says in the contract, well, you can't drastically change your appearance.
Yeah.
But I had already accepted the Jenny Craig contract.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what do I do? And I just felt like Fat Amy is my destiny.
So
and
how did Jenny Craig feel about that?
Well, yeah, I don't think they were that happy about it.
But it worked. Did it work? How did it work out? Because obviously it did work out.
I actually did the program for a few weeks before that, and I had tried all the food and everything, and I quite enjoyed it. And then, and then they had little desserts and everything. I was like, great. And then I remember being in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is where we filmed the movie, and I had all the Jenny Craig things, and then I'm like, I'm losing too much weight. Like, I
what
can't.
a dilemma.
So I had to throw out the food.
So crazy, isn't
and
it?
then just eat the food from the South, which is like mac and cheese, fried chicken. And then that was my commitment to Fat Amy, which was well worth it. Yeah. That is, I just adored playing that character.
Virgin Radio.